Good morning and welcome to this week's Sunday Musings. Every week I talk about something that is on my mind. And this week I'm going to talk about accessibility and why I think it's important that we bring everyone to the table. There are a lot of ways that people like to define accessibility. If you just think about it in the simplest way, accessibility is simply the ability to reach or be reached, to approach or be approached, to be used or understand, to basically allow access to anybody who is interested. That's a pretty bold statement, and it's become really poignant in the last year with all of the recent discussions about diversity and inclusion, around race, around gender identity, around physical adjustments. So why do I think it's so important that we bring everybody to the table? I believe that each of us has an amazing breadth of experience and feelings and thoughts and knowledge. And when you only select a group of individuals to work on a project or work within a company or work towards something, and they all have the same experience, the same thoughts, the same perspective, you have fundamentally limited what you can provide to people, the success of your project, and the number of people that your project will appeal to. And if you're anything like me, I tend to really push when I work on something, and I invest all of myself because I want it to be something that I'm proud of. And I am most proud of those projects that I work on with a range of people that bring a range of perspectives and backgrounds, so that what I put out is as broad in perspective and point of view as is possible and reasonable for that project. Obviously, not everything should have 20 people. There can be such a thing as too many cooks in the kitchen. Some projects are personal and unique to me, and they'll have me working on them. Sunday Musings, for example. I talk to a lot of people about topics they'd like to hear about, and I certainly take those into consideration and add them to my list. And if there's something you'd like to hear about, please reach out and let me know. I'd certainly love to think about adding another topic to my ongoing list of things I want to talk about. But if I'm working on something that is for a group of people, I want perspective from other people. I cannot self-edit. I cannot believe or dream, and I would never dream, that I could think about all the different points of view that I want people to think about, because I really can only talk about mine. So when I bring in people from different venues of life, depending on what those venues are, I'm going to get different perspectives. And I believe that means what I put out is going to be richer and deeper and more appealing. So what are some of the populations that have problems with access? Well, let's just start with plain old gender. Women have not often been at the table for a very long time. It's getting better. I just read a recent report that the wage gap is 3% smaller than it was 5 or 10 years ago. That's awesome. Got a ways to go before we have equality there. Gender identity. I happen to live in Northern California, where this is kind of an openly discussed thing. You have the gender you were assigned at birth, and for many of us, like myself, I'm what's called cisgendered. I identify in that same gender. But I know a number of people that no longer assign themselves the gender or believe themselves to be the gender they were assigned at birth. And that brings a whole different perspective and set of thoughts and the way of looking at things, and I have to respect that. People who have physical disabilities that are visible, how do you make sure that they can participate? Then there are the invisible disabilities like depression, addiction, all of those things. How do you make sure something is accessible for that? Severe introverts versus extroverts. How do you make sure that if you put on an event, that it will have something for both populations. Race, religion, cultural diversity, how you're raised, all of those are different. And so anybody if you look around the table or the group you're working with, and you notice that it is primarily one mindset, one appearance, consider reaching out and inviting additional people to the table and making them feel welcome. The biggest part, I believe, in making things accessible is to not only proactively go out and invite people in, but also to make them welcome and an active part of the team you're building. And that's why I believe it's really important to at least invite everyone to the table. It's their choice if they'd like to come. It's on you to invite them and to make them feel welcome. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you about this and anything else you'd like to hear me talk about. See you next week.